Titan? Titane? Titane? I think it's Titane. I don't really French it up much. I failed French. I don't know how to pronounce this. Tishan? Let's go with Titane. A weird art film made by a horny and confused transformer. Coming in hot. I'm just going to tell you right now. As you can see, I'm not holding, if you've seen any reviews of mine before, I usually own the thing that I'm reviewing. And sometimes at the end of the review, I don't own that thing anymore because it's off my shelf. I'm just letting you know I don't own this movie. I streamed it, and if I did own it, it'd be off my shelf. We're just starting with that. It'd just be right off the shelf. This thing it's weird, it's nonsensical, it's inconsistent, it's confusing. Weird usually isn't a bad thing for me. I like weird, but this is something else. Sorry, going out of order here. What is Titane, if I'm pronouncing it correctly? What is it? It's a body horror, thriller, French film. So, it wasn't French. I used English subtitles. I watched it with my partner, who is fairly decently fluent in French. Directed by, I should say, Julia Ducournau. I'm horrible with pronouncing stuff. Starring Agatha Roussel and Vincent Linden. Sorry if I mispronounce your names. I'm sure you're cool people. Sorry. It came out in 2021. It came out less than a year ago. I think it was July or June. So in the summer of 2021. And we are in January of 2022. So 6 months ago-ish. Oh, man. I knew I got ahead of myself. But this thing, it's just not. It's just not. I just can't. I don't know what's going on there in France. But it's not for me, man. At least this film was just something else. It looked super cool. That's the thing. Visuals grab me a lot, and you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover. And this is one way that definitely impacted me. So the artwork for the movie artwork, like the poster or the image or whatever, whatever you want to call it, what would be on the DVD, I assume. It looked really like retro wave. It looked like I think it was like a hot pink, not hot pink. Sorry, I almost said hot yellow, like fluorescent yellow, neon yellow, like text, and then it was that pink purple. You got that dark indigo, just those very stereotypical, retro wave, cyberpunk kind of feel, and the image just has the kind of back of our main character's head here. And by the way, we're going to get into spoilers. Yes, we are, because it's the only way that I can express to you that this film is banana sandwich, and I think it's just don't watch it is what I think. But obviously it's meant for somebody, but not for me. So anyway, but it's just there's a shot and you see this weird kind of scar tissue or whatever behind the ear, the weird pattern. So it just kind of that's really, it grabbed me. I was really interested. I don't remember what the blurb said about it, but I was okay, we got a thriller here. It's something about some mysterious murders happen or something, and there's someone reappears, and it's oh, okay. And that blurb is so out to lunch. Yeah, that kind of happens, but no, it's giving you the impression that it's just this regular old mystery thriller. Something happens and we gotta find out, and someone reappears in your life. No. I need to get to the spoilers. I just have to. But before that, is it an important film? Not for me. Who is it for? I don't know. People on psychedelics that aren't afraid of having a bad trip. I feel you should watch. If you were ripped, and you watched this movie, cool. Then I think that you could enjoy it. And if you didn't enjoy it, it'd at least be weird and super extremely weird. You definitely don't need to be on drugs to think this is super weird and messed up, but I think you'd enjoy it more if you were, and then you'd realize if you watch it again sober, oh shoot, it's just that weird. It wasn't even the drugs. What function does it serve? Just to be weird, I guess. I don't know. Apparently, it can be a story about family. Apparently, you can get that out of it. Here's the thing. I feel like there's more than one story going on here. I said it's inconsistent and confusing, and it's nonsensical, because I feel like you could have had this story without having all the weirdness. Like, you didn't need the body horror part of it in order to tell this story. You could have had, like, all the other elements of, like, of the murders, the thriller, suspense parts, and also be kind of about family and being about relationships, because I think that it kind of has that, and it kind of does that pretty well, actually. But this other element just throws it all out the window, because you're just like, let's have this weird crap happen that doesn't need to happen, that never happens, that is impossible to happen, that gets into fantastical and nonsensical territory. It's just not, I just don't understand. Like, it just takes so much away from what it could have been, in my opinion, obviously. So, it's off the shelf for me, right off there. I didn't have it on my shelf, but if I did, if I like saw it, I was like, oh, this looks really cool, I'm gonna buy it, I'd throw it off the shelf. It's gone. It's gone. I can't. I don't recommend anyone watch this. I know there are some people who would be into it, but I don't know who you are. I don't even know how to frame this in a way of, like, gets that person jazzed. Like, I'm trying to tell you about it, so you're like, oh, okay, like, that's for me. I like weird body horror stuff that doesn't make any freaking sense, that apparently, like, and until I get into the spoilers, you don't know why I called it what I called it at the beginning. A weird art film made by a horny and confused Transformer. Like, we're talking about, like, Transformer, like, Autobots and, like, Decepticons. Like, we'll get there, but you don't know what that means right now. So, I don't know, it's super weird. If you like really weird stuff, then I think you'll like this. It's shot well. The story, the concept in and of itself is just like, why? Why? I will tell you, it's not family friendly. There's nudity for sure, because we've got different rules in Europe. There's definitely some sexual things happening. A horny Transformer. Anyway, we need to get into spoilers. I can't anymore. I can't not talk about them. So basically, I'm giving you a rundown of the whole film really quickly. This woman, she was a child once, as most of us are. And, you know, she didn't have her seatbelt on for a second, and they got into a car accident, and she got a head injury, and she was in the hospital, and then as soon as she came out of the hospital, she went to the car and, like, was, like, hugging it and loving up on this car rather than her family, and it was like, what? That's the car that hurt you? So there is also, like, oh, there's a comment on, like, Stockholm Syndrome and, like being, you know, loving your abuser, and it's like, ugh, okay, that's weird that she has this weird relationship with the car. But then she's, like, all grown up, and she's in, like, some weird, like, strip club, like, she's a stripper, and she's like, but the strip club is, like, it's, like, car themed, and, like, she's basically just, like, making love to this car, like, that's the way she's moving. I mean, she's stripping, it's supposed to be alluring, right? And it is. And then there's, like, this, like, super fan that, like, follows her, like, to her car, and, like, wants to get her signature, and then, like, won't leave her alone and wants to, like, take her out sometime, and, like, who probably wants to do sex with her. And then she ends up, like, kissing him, like, she was, like, really, like, at first it seems like she's scared, and she's like, man, this guy, just get away, like, dude, like, she didn't even want to roll in the window, but then it's like, he's a fan, and you have that weird, like, as a celebrity, I'm sure, like, am I going to be seen as a dink if I don't, like, just oblige this fan? But it's kind of like scary territory. She's, like, out in the parking lot trying to go home after her shift. Like, she's alone, it's dark, there's no one around, and this dude's there, and just, like, who knows if he's going to take no for an answer. And then she, like, grabs him by the face and kisses him, and then takes, like, a chopstick out of her hair and just, like, kills him. Just, like, right through the ear. Just, like, in the brain. Like, you're dead. That's it for you, bro. And then, like, she's going to go hide the body, it looks like. And then she ends up back in, like, the warehouse strip club thing. And I guess earlier than that, there was this moment where she had, like, this moment with another woman in the shower, because they're just, like, there's, like, group showers, like, all the strippers after their shift. And this woman's kind of, like, trying to chat her up, and she's, like, not interested at all in like, having a conversation with this woman. And then it just gets, like, awkward, and I think someone's hitting on someone, but it's weird. Anyway, that happened before, my bad. So she goes back in after killing this dude, and then she, like, you think she's like gonna dispose of the body or something, but she ends up in the car that she was stripping on, like this car. There's also this weird fire element. The car has like crazy like flame paint job on it, and that comes back later. But she has sex with the car. She just has sex with the car. I don't know how. I think she's in the back seat. She's like tied up, and the car's like hydraulics. It's like, she has sex with the car. Like that, the car's spirit. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. Because at first I'm like, is this a fantasy? Is she just like out of her mind right now? But spoiler alert in the spoiler, she's not dreaming. She's not making it. It's not like a figment of her imagination. You know why? Because she gets pregnant from the car. The car makes her pregnant. Pregnant. Like, she starts to grow a metal baby. And oil instead of blood. Frick, man. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens, but like she ends up like murdering her family and burning the house down and killing the woman that she was trying to kind of maybe on a date with and do sex with, but then she like kills her and it kills everyone else in the house, and then she's like on the run. She has this murdering spree, and then she sees this thing where there's like this kid, this boy that like disappeared a while ago, and like she's getting pregnant like really fast. By the way, like this thing's growing like fast. This weird transformer baby. And yeah, she doesn't do relationships well. She doesn't know how to interact with humans very well. And like anyway, she sees this poster for a missing kid, and like then she shaves her head, and she kind of looks like that kid, but she has to like break her nose, and it's like what? And then she basically hatches this plan because they're after her for being a murderer, right? She's on the run, and she decides, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend to be this kid that disappeared like 12 years ago, and I'm back now. And but then she's got breasts, and she's pregnant with a belly, and she has to like bind herself so that she doesn't show that. And then there's like this moment in the. I don't even want to get into like the cool parts of it because the weird part of it just derails it. But like there is this notion about family. So this dude who's like a firefighter, like EMS responder guy. He is the dad, and then he's at the police station, and then they're like, the police like, do you want to do a DNA test? And he's like, why? You don't think I know my own son? And then it's like, you find out like, did you know at that point that it wasn't your son? Or did you not know then and you were okay with it later? Because he ends up finding out it's not my son and being okay with it because he just needs something. It's like he just needs hope. He just needs something. He just needs to be like, I just need to be a father. I just need to parent a child. And I just need to like be there for you. And she doesn't know intimacy like on a human relationship level. Like she just can't. I don't know what it is that's messed up with her, but she doesn't do that. And then she ends up having these vulnerable, soft moments. And I think she loves this man that's supposed to be her dad. But then like the mom finds out, and then she doesn't care. And she like, here's the thing that's bananas. People like the mom like finds her pregnant, and she's like going through like pain, and she's gonna like give birth really soon, and the mom like finds her there, and then that's how she finds out, oh, you're not my son, like you're this woman who's going through this thing, and she just ignores it. She's got black oil coming out of like a hole, and then there's like her stomach's like tearing, like skin tearing, and you see like metal underneath, and this woman just ignores all that stuff, and she's like, oh, you're not my son, don't break that dude's heart, like you better like love him, and just like what? And then there's like a weird moment where like the other firefighters like hate her, and then the one kind of like finds out like, yo, you aren't who you say you are, you're that, I'm gonna expose you. But then, like, I think he's, like, the captain, like, her dad, like, ends up in a situation with that guy. The guy tries to tell him, and he's like, don't talk to me about my son. And then later, they just happen to be, like, in the forest doing something, and then there's, like, an explosion, and that kid, like, dies. Like, that firefighter in training dude, like, that young guy who was trying to warn him, he just happens to die. And so then the secret is is dead with him, and no one's going to expose her now, and I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. And like, then there's this weird moment where they're like, they think that she's just straight up handicapped. Like, that's kind of the attitude that they would have. Like, they would say the R word and stuff. Like, they think that she has some mental problems that make her not as cognitively able as them, is how I would put it. But in the attitude and spirit of this film, like, they just, that's how their culture is there. I don't mean in France. I just mean, like, this specific microculture of these folks in the firehouse. And so at one point they kind of, like, he ends up kind of being part of, like, the family in a way. And, like, I keep saying, I'm saying he, then I'm saying she. I don't remember the name of her character, and I don't remember the name of the character that she ends up pretending to be. And so, I'm sorry, I'm confused. It's confusing. Anyway, but they end up cheering for him, like, as he's, like, they want him to, like, dance to a song, and he's on top of, like, a fire truck, and then he starts, like, doing, like, a strip routine, and then, like, his dad walks in, and then everyone's, like, no one's looking away, but it looks, like, really messed up, and then they're just like, what is going on? And the dad walks in, and then it's weird. And then she has sex with the fire truck. Like, she's gonna give birth, and she's in a lot of pain, and then she, like, has sex with a fire truck somehow. And then she tries to have sex with her dad because she doesn't know anything about relationships with humans. And then he doesn't do that, and then he just, like, helps give birth to the baby, and then she dies giving birth, and then this baby has a metal spine, there's black oil everywhere instead of blood, and then he's just like, I'm just going to take care of this baby. And that's the end of the movie. Titane.